Hello, everyone. I'm Myha Gallagher with Future Partners, here to share an in depth profile on mega sporting events travelers to help marketers capitalize on this really lucrative audience. And as Megan said, my colleague Jen Griswold is in the chat if you have any questions about the research as I move through the stack. We all have a sense of just how extraordinary the opportunity of the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Summer Olympics will be. And these events will bring the world to the United States, not just to watch, but to travel, to explore, and to experience America. And what I want to share with you today are the numbers behind that opportunity, the scale of traveler interest, their spending power, and perhaps most importantly, what these travelers are telling us in their own words. So you can walk away ready to capitalize on exactly who they are, what they want, and the magnitude of what's ahead. So, just a quick introduction if we haven't had the great pleasure of working with you or meeting with you, Future Partners is a team of tourism researchers that unlocks opportunities for the travel industry powered by insight, shaping strategies for travel brands and tourism leaders that win them hearts, minds, and market share, and brings the future of travel within reach. And over this presentation, I'll share our proprietary research that provides an overview of the opportunity posed by upcoming mega sports events, looks at the travel profile and motivations of the travelers coming for these events, as well as their USA travel intentions and trip patterns, examines their planning and decision journey, and the marketing messaging that will be successful when communicating to them about these events. And from all of that, the strategic implications for destinations, travel businesses, and your partners. And the key takeaways from the data and insights that I'll present are first, that this is a once in a generational opportunity. These mega events attract high spending, experience seeking travelers eager to explore the US. Second, it's not just about the match or the medal. Top motivators extend well beyond the events, meaning many destinations can benefit. Third, winning these travelers' hearts and trip plans starts now with compelling and competent digital storytelling. These travelers are intentional and rely on digital content and social media at every stage of their journey. And finally, a solid reminder from these travelers that ease of experience absolutely matters. Trusted information and a sense of smooth logistics in the destination are crucial in converting intent to booked trips. So you are aware the data comes from Future Partners' ongoing The State of the International Traveler Study, which is a survey of over 13,000 likely international travelers in 16 different countries. Uh, and for the presentation today, though, I'm honing in specifically on the UK and these European markets that are highlighted on your screen. And then interviews conducted at this point about month ago with travelers who are interested and likely to visit the US for these upcoming mega sports events. This was populated through our Express Explore qualitative offering and is a research methodology that we can deploy and add on to any custom ad hoc study. And they are coming, not just in theory, but in real numbers. So let's begin with some of those numbers about this opportunity for the US travel industry. Again, the scale of this potential is big. So 39.2% of UK and European international travelers are interested in visiting the US for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And a similar proportion, 40.8%, are interested in visiting for the 2028 Olympic Games. And that's millions of potential visitors. Interest in visiting the US for these events is particularly strong in Italy, France, Spain, and the UK, a little more muted for the Dutch and for German travelers. And these travelers are high value visitors. As you can see on these charts, they budget substantial amounts towards their international leisure travel each year. And as shown on these charts, these travelers anticipate spending nearly $6,000 US dollars, that is, in market on a 2 week trip to the US, with shopping being their largest anticipated spend after accommodations, and significant amounts dedicated to dining, sightseeing, and in market transportation. And as the data and their own words show, they're not just coming for the game, they're coming for America. The opportunity is clearly well beyond host cities. Let's hear directly from these travelers now.
Yes, I'm absolutely interested in visiting the areas around where we're planning on stay. That was part of the reason of the trip that we have in mind. There will be football matches played on the east coast of America for the World Cup, and so we've made a 1 week trip that allows us to go to Boston, New York, and Philadelphia and see some of the history and the culture, and basically just kind of relax and have a nice time, as well as taking out the football while we're there.
I think again, it's down to transport infrastructure for me, and just clarity of how long you should spend over there, and how long it will take you to get there and come back. But yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Yeah, especially if it's really, really unique places.
See, because obviously it's hard to travel around America, but I would like to visit, as much of it in as many cities as I can, and hopefully taking in part of the World Cup as well. Be phenomenal.
I definitely would be interested in visiting destinations near the main point. Um, yeah, without a doubt, just really to make the most of the trip. I mean, see, here is the World Cup. You, if you totally immerse yourself in every single game, you could be visiting any city, any area of the world. If all you're doing is sitting in the fan zones, drinking beer.
Yeah, it would inspire me to put that on my bucket list as well as me going to the sport events because if I'm only out there, the once I might as well get taking as much as I can within within the time I'm out there. So yeah, that would definitely intrigue me to see other places as well as the sport events itself.
If I'm going to see the Olympics or going to see the World Cup, I would actually think of extending my stay and make it into a jam-packed holiday and make the most of it, especially with me traveling that far.
Or if I'm in a particular state in the US, then maybe I'll hop across to another state. So if I'm, for example, in New York, I might go to Jersey. Jersey, I might go to Maryland. Maryland, I might go to Washington. I might then hop across to the South. I might go to Vegas. Like, I definitely feel like if I've traveled all that way, especially from the UK, which is like a 6 hour flight minimum, I may as well kill a couple of birds with one stone and just do a bit of sightseeing and go on some adventures. So I'm definitely exploring the wider region if I'm out in America for one particular experience. I'm gonna make a trip of it.
And this isn't just stadium tourism, it's truly a broad travel economy ejection. 2026 FIFA World Cup travelers from the UK and Europe will likely spend 12.3 days in the US on their World Cup trip and visit an average of 5.1 unique destinations during that time frame. And as you can see on screen now, 2028 Olympic game travelers from the UK and Europe will likely travel in a party size of 3.6 people and spend about 12.5 days in the US on their trip. All right, let's now look more deeply at the why. Why this group travels and what are their deeper motivations? Well, the strongest intrinsic motivations behind their trips are exploring new things, experiencing other cultures, relaxing, living life to its fullest, and treating themselves. And as you can see on the breakout box on screen, UK mega sports events travelers in particular index even higher for taking a break from everyday life, treating themselves, quality time with family, and gaining knowledge of history. And mega sports events travelers' top travel passions include food and cuisine, shopping, global exploration, visiting historical attractions, fitness, and health and wellness. Interestingly, those from the UK over index on shopping, but under index on hiking relative to other European mega sports events travelers. Now let's look at their USA trip intentions and desires. There's a lot of love for the US amongst these travelers in particular. As one UK traveler shared, the people are fascinating, funny, and always a pleasure to meet. The variety of experiences. If you are bored in the USA, you are bored with life. And these travelers are telling us exactly what will make them say yes. And it's what you already have and simply need to communicate. As this traveler sums up, quote, "About the World Cup in America, I want a traditional American experience. I want real American food. I want real American hospitality." Because beyond mega events, these travelers are attracted to the USA for its culture and its local customs. And when we ask them more broadly to rank the types of destinations that they are most excited by, as shown in their rankings on these tables on screen, these travelers are obviously drawn to US cities, but also national parks. They follow not that close, I mean, they follow closely behind, with many ranking American beaches and rural areas as top as well. And they are planners who move quickly. These travelers say they typically plan a trip to the US about 12.7 weeks out and would start booking about 1 week after they begin their travel planning process. And when it comes to desired American trip experiences, sightseeing in cities, visiting iconic landmarks and historic sites, having authentic American cuisine, and taking scenic drives or road trips are those that they value most. And in the breakout box, you can see UK mega sports events travelers over index on fine dining and restaurants overall. In addition to the mega events that these travelers have strong interest in, other professional sporting events, particularly the NBA, NFL, and MLS, are of interest. Spain, France, and UK demonstrate the greatest interest in NBA and NFL games, whereas UK and Italy express greatest interest for the MLB, and then the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany for MLS. All right, let's get into how to reach mega sports events travelers from the UK and Europe and messaging that will be most effective in attracting this audience. As summed up by this traveler, they love the idea that these events are once in a lifetime moments. That urgency is a powerful call to action. And mega sports events travelers say their top travel inspiration resources include search, OTAs, travel trade, reviews, and also DMO resources. And they're incredibly digital overall. Social media is a top planning resource for these travelers, with Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook topping the list here. When it comes to the content that's most important to how they make their US destination decisions, they say it's accommodations, historical attractions, sightseeing tours, restaurants, national parks. And we hear this a lot, not just among international travelers, but about domestic travelers as well. Communicating a sense of safety. When they come to your destination, they will feel welcome, they will feel safe, and that will make for a better experience for all. And for the desired tone they're asking from advertising for international travel, they say they respond to friendly, welcoming, joyful, calm, relaxing, and inspirational messaging. And let's hear directly now from these travelers on how they want to be communicated to.
I would be really excited to travel to the US or beyond for mega events if there was messaging which basically suggested how the event was going to be, and messaging that basically emphasized the excitement and the buzz around the event. And if there was some kind of promotion, so for every time someone buys a ticket, you get entry into like a prize draw or something. If perhaps there was messaging which suggested there was a community which was going to meet up at the event, I think that would be really important. I think there's a likelihood that I'd travel if there was some kind of easily accessible travel planning tools. So whether that be via TripAdvisor, using some AI or Expedia or something, I think that'd be really handy. I think a dedicated hub answering questions that I may have around the event would be important too. And then just clear visuals and images of what the event may look like and the landscape may look like, so I can see where I'm going to end up.
Have a website that's all geared up to the event, or other way around. If there's websites for the event and they have an arrangement with hotels that are partners, so you know the hotel you're booking is geared up for the event and it's just totally buying into the whole atmosphere. That would certainly appeal.
Even just, how well it was advertised that, maybe Even if you don't have a ticket for the games or the event or whatever, that there's still a load on that you can still do, and it's not just kind of being done just for this event, like in the stadium or whatever it might be. That there's loads of other kind of stuff going on around the city and stuff like that.
Thing is, it's just the packaging because bearing in mind, you're gonna need accommodation, you're gonna need to find events where you want to go to. So it's just how they advertise related, say on the internet or on TV, how they come across for people to want to say, yeah, you know what, I want to do this. So that will be my thing to say that okay, and as the most important thing is price because like bearing in mind it's in the summer and I suppose that's the height of the season, so it seems a summer holiday, a lot of people, prices do escalate quite highly. So that will also be an effect. So it'd have to be a good package for me to say, okay, let's say I'm going to spend the duration of 4 or 5 weeks out there, but if I get 7, 8 days, see a couple of events, that would be totally perfect for me to do. And that was basically, if I was to get a good package, that would inspire me to want to go out there to see these mega events. What America will be holding of next year.
If there was good package deals announced, maybe by key airlines and key hotels, that would give me a big incentive to go and visit these events happening in these big cities.
I would want to know that things like Estes aren't going to be a problem, especially for people coming from Europe. That assurances have been made for people traveling for those events that might be made a bit easier or more consistent.
This was about the World Cup in America. I want a traditional American experience. I want real American feel, I want real American hospitality.
So my key message for any city: safe, secure, value for money, good infrastructure, and I will be there for the World Cup or for the Olympics.
All right, let's get ready to host. These travelers want to know that the basics are covered. Quote, the city's infrastructure has to be able to cope with the influx of people like me coming. And they want a sense that the venue and the events are very coordinated and very organized, making for a very cohesive environment and atmosphere. And they want to feel that they're getting value for the money and that the events or the surrounding events supporting the actual mega event itself are all accessible. And perhaps most importantly, there's an excitement in the US to be the host, and that this is translated into the atmosphere overall. Quote, a city that nails it as a host, I think, would be the entire city all coming together. Like, for instance, I'm from Scotland, and Glasgow held the Commonwealth Games in 2014. And it was seen as a very successful event. The city came together, so it was very welcoming. There were ambassadors around everywhere to tell visitors where they were going, and if they were lost, what they could do. And it was just a really good atmosphere. And again, let's hear directly from these traveling consumers on their expectations of the US.
Well, the US is always known for going over and beyond at their events.
Same language, but the fact is that when you go there, everybody seems to be in a good mood. Places like Disney World and whatnot exist because they're there giving the good vibes to make sure everybody feels welcome. When it comes to a large sporting event, because they already know what they're doing, this isn't news to them as far as how to treat a person when they come to the door and make them feel welcome. I've never been to America and not felt welcome in any way. And so to have a large sporting event there where they're already familiar with how to look after people and make them feel special is something that really appealed to me.
I think what makes America stand out is everything's always bigger and better. I feel like the monuments and the attractions are huge. I feel like America is a really well-known place for sporting events as well. So they'll always put a lot of effort and investment, whether that be time, budget, resource, into making events spectacular. I feel like there's always a lot of entertainment around the sporting event, and I feel like there's always a lot of publicity around it.
Well, I've been to the USA many times and across many states. So when I do travel to the USA for a mega sports event, I am expecting, first up, razzmatazz. The Americans know how to put on a show.
I just think they just know how to do it on a different scale, and they don't do things half-heartedly.
I think excitement is the thing really that comes to mind. And the idea as well that things tend to be superlative in the US, don't they? Things are bigger, brighter, better. Actually, I don't know, better, on par, let's say, but definitely brighter and bigger, definitely. So yeah, definitely a sense of excitement and a sense of that I'm gonna be amazed. It's gonna be amazing. It's not gonna be done on a small scale on a shoestring.
It's just that it's going to be probably big, potentially over the top. The Americans kind of do a lot of things over the top. But I'm sure that, you would kind of be expecting things to be well organized, kind of, you know, pretty big, kind of no corners cut and stuff like that.
What comes to mind when I think of the United States is everything's bigger and everything's potentially better and more grand, and that's what I want. I want the whole experience. I don't want to be bored. I just want to be entertained. I want to be excited. So obviously everything's bigger in Texas. If I go to Texas, I want the whole Texas experience. I want to go to a steak farm, like a steak restaurant that they're famous for, like massive, like ridiculous amounts of food, even though I'm never going to eat all that. But I want wherever I am, like I said, whatever city I'm in America, I want the full experience of what they're famous for. That's what I think about America. America are probably one of the most, if not the most powerful country in the world. So they need to put on the best show, the absolute best show that you can expect, and just want to be treated like, when I'm there, like I'm special, like we're all special when we're visitors, and I don't want to have any fear around. I don't want any demonstrations, any of that rubbish going on. I just want full escapism for that week, 2 weeks of excitement. So all the build up, they have a trailer park barbecues and things like that, that sort of thing. I want all the build up. I want all the enjoy the game and then experience like afterwards, win, lose or draw. I want a party, like party in the USA, as Katy Perry said.
So those are the numbers and the words, but this is your moment, whether you're a gateway city or a hidden gem to inspire and capture travelers looking for the full American experience. These mega sports events will ignite the motivation to visit, but it's the destinations that tell the whole story of why they should. Make it easy, authentic, unique, and welcoming. Give them their Katy Perry moment, although I know he meant to say Miley Cyrus with Party in the USA. But doing all those things will ensure that you win this traveler. Thank you so much. And if you have any follow up questions or needs on what I've shared today, I'd be happy to answer them now. I also know and realize I've thrown a lot of information at you all. So if you just need to marinate first, you can always reach out to directly to me via email with any subsequent questions. And let's just see if any questions come into the chat before we wrap.
Yeah, it looks like we have one in there.
Yes. So Nick, are the interest in visiting percentages top two box? Yes. The profile was based on top two box in terms of interest for visiting the US for the subsequent events. We can always run a banner on top box score to really zoom in on those that would be the most low hanging fruit in terms of conversion. Any other questions from the audience?
I'll read you another one, Myha. That's okay.
Yep.
There's one that came in. Was there any indication as to how willing these travelers are willing to travel to nearby cities? San Diego is hoping to capture some Olympics and World Cup traffic, but it's uncertain whether there's a willingness to make the 100-mile trek southward.
Yeah, that's a great question. We know that typically in these sentiment questionnaires, there is always an air of optimism and positivity. And so, from the quantitative survey and from our qualitative, these travelers are sharing that there is a willingness and a desire to travel outside of the host cities to explore more of the US. Now, all travelers are always looking for convenience. And so that 100-mile trek between the host city and San Diego, I think it's imperative to think about ease of planning for that traveler. So really highlighting and mapping out for them, okay, to get from the host city to San Diego. Here are your transportation options. Here are great lodging options for you. Here's a package so that there's even less planning that you need to do because we've already put together a compelling travel experience for you because we want you here in San Diego experiencing the great things we have to offer.
Thank you, Myha. We had another question about what about carbon offsets?
Carbon offsets. Oh, that's an interesting question. One that we did not address in this study in particular, but we do know from our wider research on UK European travelers that sustainability, stewardship are all important aspects to that particular audience. And so, certainly, if there are additional things that any city is doing in the name of sustainability, in the name of stewardship, I think putting that front and center in your messaging, that's always a compelling hook for UK and European travelers.
Thank you. We love the questions, so keep them coming.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you have lingering questions or feedback for our wonderful presenter, there will be the opportunity to share. That being said, you will receive a recording of today's webinar within the next couple of days. It's going to be coming from future partners. Again, on behalf of TTRA and future partners, we just really appreciate your time and talents in the midst of this busy season. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, everyone.